Over a year ago, I released not one, but two of these Madness Bracket type videos. Both of them I thought were pretty fun to do. The one I did with Aiden K for Home Depot, and the one I did prior with the best Spirit Halloween animatronics of all time, to see who would come out on top as the best of each respective store. This time though, I'm going to be doing the worst animatronics Madness Bracket. Yes, that's right. The worst ones ever. I asked you guys about a week or two ago who were the worst animatronics, and you guys gave me some responses. Not enough though. With that out of the way, I'm Spooky Guy 444, and let's get into the worst animatronics of all time, Madness Bracket. What is going on, guys? Peter Griffin Guy 444 here, coming at you today with once again a new Madness Bracket for the first time in over a year, I believe. I'm excited to get into this. Like you had seen in the intro, worst animatronics of all time, battling it out to see who is indeed the worst animatronic of all time. There was a few picks here. I had you guys pick a couple of the very few first ones. I wasn't able to get enough answers, so a lot of the whole other half is actually my choices, but that is okay. We're still gonna get into this. We're gonna see who is the worst animatronic ever made. We have them from across all years, all stores, all brands. Let's get into it. So we're going to be starting with the first side here, as we always do. We'll zoom it in to help us out here. Obviously, we'll do this first half, and then we'll move over to the second half, and then as we keep going, we'll close it in. Haunted Vacuum Cleaner versus the Evil Triplets. Now, Haunted Vacuum Cleaner is just really dumb. The animatronic itself doesn't like suck. It's just a vacuum cleaner that laughs. Like, it's bad. But the Evil Triplets. Now, the Evil Triplets are also pretty bad, but I don't hate them nearly as much as I do a lot of the other stuff from the Halloween costumes lineup this year. So honestly, I might get some flack for this, but I'm gonna go vacuum cleaner. I'm gonna go vacuum cleaner. The 2020 Michael Myers versus Eternal Rest. Now, I'm gonna be the first to say this. Eternal Rest isn't that bad when it's not broken. Like, it's an okay little filler prop. So I'm gonna say no brainer, that is Michael, just because I don't really hate Eternal Rest. But there was a lot of like people saying that she's the worst, but she's definitely not the worst. It is easily Michael Myers. Tombstone Terror versus the Pop-Up Zombie Toilet. This one's actually really difficult because both of these are like pretty bad. I would okay, see, they both have their pros and their cons. I'm gonna say Zombie Toilet, and I'm gonna probably get a ton of flack for that too, because let me explain. Okay, so Tombstone Terror, he doesn't suck, he just sucks as a spirit animatronic. Like, if you put that at like CVS for like $60, it would be pretty cool, but it's not at CVS and it's not $60, so it is pretty bad. But the Pop-Up Zombie Toilet is literally just a foam head shooting up from a latex toilet, and that's just ridiculous. So yeah, definitely gonna give that to the Zombie Toilet. The Zombie Boy Twins versus Young Crouchy. I'm gonna go with the twins. That's not really too difficult, but I will say Young Crouchy is still pretty bad. Betty Sharp versus Rat Girl. Wow. Wow. Yeah, 2022 was not a good year for Spirit. Wow, that is tough. I know in my top 10 worst list, I did say Rat Girl, but like, I'm still gonna go Rat Girl. I'm gonna go Rat Girl. Okay, Ellie Hatchet versus Angeline. Now, both of these I don't actually would say are even like top 20 worst.
No. Bro, take them off the list. Take them off. They're the best.
Dude, what are you talking
of
about?
all time. Take them off.
No, I'm not gonna take them off the list. Why would I? No, shut up, dude. Go. This isn't your video. You're not here. Go. This is not your problem. I don't care that you made them. Go. Sorry about that. So yeah, Ellie Hatchet or Angeline. I'm gonna go Ellie Hatchet just because you can use Angeline in a lot more of like a nice tombstone setting. Like, I like everything about Angeline. It's really just the face that kills her for me. Ellie Hatchet is just really trash. She's just bad. The Thresher Archway versus Johnny Punk. Ooh, that's actually pretty difficult. No, it's not. It's pretty no-brainer, Johnny Punk. Okay, the Thresher is another one that I do understand the hate for, and I don't hate it nearly as much as a lot of people do because, like, in practice, I like Thresher's idea where he's this, like, really big monster archway and he talks to you as he greets you. It's just the problem with Thresher is the design is kind of funky and the quality is horrendous. Like, it's bad on Thresher. He's definitely not worth 350. I don't think he's outdoor rated, and he's a 10-foot archway. His head is latex, and the lights that are inside the arch are LED strips, which Jack Carver also has, and I hate that so much. But either way, Johnny Punk, no brainer. That thing's bad. The Luncheon Clown versus Dagger Mike. Now listen, Dagger Mike does not suck. Okay, I actually quite like Dagger Mike. Would I buy him? No, but to say that he's one of the worst of all time is insane compared to anything on this list. I would easily say Dagger Mike is probably the best on this list, and he's actually not that bad. Like, I wouldn't even include him on a list like this. The Lunging Clown, though, from Costco, oh my, that thing is horrible. That thing, Pan Asia needs to just discontinue and just make strictly tabletops. Now, look, they made the Jazz Duo, okay. That's not enough, because they made this, and then they made the Witch one, and the Witch one's just as bad. I don't think I put the Witch one on here, but that, yeah, Lunging Clown is horrible. Okay, Wheelchair Granny versus Ghost Swing. Now, Jaden the Haunter's favorite animatronic of all time is Ghost Swing. If you can go comment that on his new video, asking him, hey, why is your favorite animatronic Ghost Swing? It would be much appreciated. But, Wheelchair Granny is just a classic. I gotta give it to Wheelchair Granny, just because, like, it's so laughably bad though. Like, I don't put her in my top 10 worst anymore just because she's so synonymous with bad, and it's just like, it's such a default answer, but I would still take Ghost Swing over Wheelchair Granny. Either way. Roaming Zombie Girl, the Chipmunk one versus the Pop-Up Werewolf. I'm definitely going to give that to the Zombie Girl. While Pop-Up Werewolf definitely isn't the best, that Zombie Girl is just a whole other level of what the hell. I can't believe Spirit would sell something like that. Forum in the mid 2010s was just not it, and I'm glad that they're all but like fizzled out because they're bad. Headless Jack versus the Pennywise Sewer Grate. Now, the Sewer Grate I don't hate at all, and as you guys know, if you were around in 2021 for my channel, Headless Jack is terrible. Easily the worst animatronic that year from 2021, from Spirit. God, I hate Headless Jack so much. Awful animatronic. Despise Headless Jack. Awful. Graveyard Ghoul versus Mr. Toots. These are two animatronics that I also just don't hate that much. I actually don't mind either of them. This is still a lot of like community picks, so most of this was not actually my choice, but I actually wouldn't mind buying Mr. Toots. I would buy Mr. Toots. I'm not even gonna lie. But Graveyard Ghoul, I would say I don't care for Graveyard Ghoul, so I'm gonna say Graveyard Ghoul. But just spoilers, I don't think he's gonna make it far in this list just because neither of them, I don't hate either of them that much. But yeah. Roaming Creepy Bear versus the Ghostly Tricycle. I'm gonna go with Creepy Bear just because the Ghostly Tricycle. Here's the thing with those ghost props, like the vacuum cleaner and the tricycle and the swing. They're dumb and they're bad, but they're not offensively bad. There's just nothing to them, and that's enough for me. Creepy Bear is literally just like this one mask put on a body, put on a Roomba, and then he goes oogie boogie boogie boogie, and he's just, yeah, he's not good. It's not that great. Sinister Steve versus Double Trouble. That is tough. These are both abysmal animatronics. Steve, though, I feel like Depot made Steve with satire and awfulness in mind. It is a clown that has a tool belt, and he talks about the store's tool selection in one of his phrases. You cannot look me dead in the eyes and tell me that Depot was seriously like, yeah, this is gonna do great. Like, there's no way. I think it was genuinely just to make fun of other companies by putting out something so bad that they just don't care. But, like, I don't know, because it's like, I don't know who I want to put here. Because I would like both of these to go far in the list, because they're both awful animatronics. Double Trouble, don't even get me started. But, man, I don't know. I'm going to say Steve. But I really wish that either Double Trouble or Steve would get far on this list because I hate both of them with everything in me. Chopping Brock from Morbid versus Sutures the Clown from Menards. Sutures easily. Now listen, I am a Stitches the Clown sympathizer. I love Stitches. I'm a big fan of him. I still own my original one. I started Stitches Gang, but the things that I like about Stitches are the things such as the audio, the color scheme. I like the purple color scheme, and the fact that I think he reuses Hugs' music. So it's like he's like a almost like a rehash of Hugs, and he looks cool enough. Is he generic? Absolutely. He's not anything special, but at the price that he is, I think he's well worth it. Sutures is like $100 more than Stitches, and they messed him up by having him be like 18 different like color palettes. He's like a pride flag clown, and he looks awful. He is outdoor rated though, but then they made him latex, so it's like, what's the point? So yeah, Sutures, no brainer, easily Sutures. The Morbid Valak Nun versus the 2012 Ghost Girl. These both suck a lot, but it's easily the Nun. That Nun, like, its existence makes me mad. I hate that Nun so much. Funzo the Clown versus the 2023 Jemmy Leatherface. Now, hot take coming your way here. The 2023 Jemmy Leatherface, while it's definitely not good, it's also, I don't think it's that bad. Like, the paint job is really the only big issue. It's the face's paint job and the arms. Pretty Woman is probably my favorite, and then Techie's second. Techie one is really overrated though. They all are. They're all honestly pretty overrated, even the Jemmy one, but Funzo is just bad. Funzo's awful. So I'm gonna go Funzo. 2023 Jemmy Leatherface is not that bad. The 2016 Evil Clown versus Mr. Punchy, I'm also gonna give that pretty easily to the Evil Clown. I heavily dislike Mr. Punchy though. I do think that was a horrible animatronic, but I'd take it over Evil Clown from 2016. That was a low for Spirit, but we're long past that now. The two-headed Morbid Greeter versus Pesky the Clown. I'm gonna go Pesky. Definitely gonna go Pesky on that. Pesky's pretty bad. Two-headed Greeter, I like the look of it, but just the annoying clicking, and then the fact that only one head talks, and then the color changing lights, like it could have been good, but it's really bad. But Pesky's just bad. Pesky's literally just big top clown, but 2 feet taller. That's so dumb. Okay, the 12-foot Scientist, the greatest animatronic of all time, versus the 2018 Zoltan. I'm gonna give that to the Scientist. But do not dismiss the 2018 version of Zoltan as a good prop. That thing is awful. The 12-foot Scientist is just, like, it might win this bracket. Like, it might. Or it's gonna get close. The 12-foot Scientist is terrible. That, I don't understand how anybody at home was like, pass it on. Pass it on. If it was outdoor rated, okay, fine. It still sucks, but I mean, at least like, you put it outside. No, you can't put it outside. It's not outdoor rated. It doesn't have any ground stakes. It doesn't have any tethers. The base is literally just like, it's almost like a Pan-Asian or Party Time base. And then the head is latex. I don't even know who makes it, because it's definitely not Jemmy. Jemmy doesn't do latex, so I don't know who. I think it's Party Time. I think Party Time actually made the 12-foot Scientist, but it's a travesty. It is definitely a travesty. That thing is bad. That thing is bad. Alright. Any colorway of the Jemmy Werewolf versus the Jemmy Beetlejuice, I'm going to give that to the Beetlejuice. But don't dismiss those werewolves. Those werewolves are all pretty bad. I would say the 2020 version is the best, but then they messed it up by giving it green eyes instead of the prototype's red. And then the Jemmy Beetlejuice is just awful. It's just Eternal Rest. Like a broken Eternal Rest. That's all it is. And it looks ugly. Like, it is ugly, but oh well. The 12-foot Pumpkin by Jemmy versus Collector's Minion. I'm gonna give it to Collector's Minion. Keep in mind, Collector's Minion isn't even out yet, and has already made like 2 very bad lists of mine. That's hilarious. But yeah, Collector's Minion definitely over the 12-foot Jemmy Pumpkin. The 12-foot Jemmy Pumpkin is just really boring and generic, and like I'm not a fan of the body. But Collector's Minion is Collector's Minion, so you gotta put it there. All right, the 12-foot Sam's Club Reaper versus Headless Help. I'm gonna go with the 12-foot Reaper, and I say that because Headless Help is just lacking a lot of animation. I think it needed more animation than just the standing still with the blinking eyes and the moving mouth. I think it needed a little bit more. Maybe body turn. That would be cool. But it is YJ, and I think if it was cheaper, he'd be pretty solid. But headless help, that's headless help. And the 12-foot Reaper, play the clip. Yeah, not good. Experiment 31 versus the Morbid Industries version of Jason Voorhees. I'm gonna go with Jason. The Jason is pretty bad. But I will say, Experiment 31 is pretty mid as well. But the Morbid Jason is horrible. That is the worst Jason animatronic. Point blank, period. Awful thing. Awful prop. Alright, the Sitter of Souls from Home Depot this year versus Morbid's Bill Skarsgård Pennywise. I'm actually... Oh, that's tough. I'm gonna say Sitter. That might be a hot take. I don't hate that Pennywise, and when I'm talking about the Pennywise, I mean in like their 2019 one. I'm not talking about their, or 18, I think it was 18. I'm not talking about the one they did in 19, like the floating one. I mean like the original Bill Skarsgård one. Not a good prop. Not a good prop at all. But I will say, Sitter of Souls in person is better, but definitely not good. It's still pretty bad. The 3-foot rocking horse doll from Big Lots versus the Cotton Candy Cocoon. I would say I'm going to give it to the Cotton Candy Cocoon. The Cotton Candy Cocoon isn't even really an animatronic. Like, I don't even know why I counted it on this list, because, like, it shouldn't be here. It's an inflatable. I don't understand why they count it as an animatronic, because it's not. But the 3-foot rocking horse doll is just one of those sized up tabletops. That's all it is. And those are trash. Don't get me wrong. But, yeah, okay. The Halloween Costumes Pumpkin Scarecrow versus Jemmy's 2016 Countess. The 2016 Countess is bad, but that's definitely the Pumpkin Scarecrow. Just because that thing's bad. The Halloween costumes, their like whole lineup is in this video, and as it should be, because they're pretty bad. But, dude, I don't know. 2016 Countess by Jemmy is really bad though. That thing's trash. The Cellar Dweller versus the 2021 version of Ghostface. This might be an interesting take, but I'm gonna go Cellar Dweller. Cellar Dweller is terrible. Now, he wouldn't be bad if it weren't for the head. If he didn't have the issues with the head, and it looks, you know, like the prototype did, and the prototype looked fine, he would have not even been on the list. But it's literally the head that ruined him. 2021 Ghostface is pretty bad too. It's just a hauntress mech on a Ghostface costume, but Cellar Dweller. Cellar Dweller. The Whimsical Witch from Morris Costumes versus the Menards and At Home 12-foot Fire and Ice Reaper. I'm actually gonna give that to Whimsical Witch. I do not like the Whimsical Witch at all. It's ugly. The animation's okay, but it's so ugly, so weird looking, and the Fire and Ice Reaper is just mid, painfully mid. But yeah, definitely Whimsical Witch. Lowe's Swinging Twins versus the Lowe's Pneumatic Girl. This is probably the hottest take on the entire video, but I'm going to give it to the Pneumatic Girl. I hate the pneumatics this year. They're so awful. The Grandpa's okay. The clown, I don't even know if the clown's on this list. It should be if it's not. But Pneumatic Girl is. Pneumatic Girl's the worst one. That thing is laughably awful. I hate the pneumatics so much. The Swinging Twins are just kind of boring. That's it. 2020 version of Flesh Eater versus a CVS Jump Scare Pumpkin Reaper thing from like 2015. I'm going to give it to the Pumpkin, but the Flesh Eater is pretty bad. I do not like that Flesh Eater. I actually sold my original Flesh Eater just because like I just grew out with him. Like, his audio really holds him down a lot in the quality, so I just got rid of him. I sold him, but he got his use out. He didn't even turn on during my haunt, but that's fine. Alright, Party City's Raccoon versus the Michaels. Yeah, Michaels. The Michaels Fortune Reaper. Definitely the Fortune Reaper. That Fortune Reaper is something to behold. Terrible prop. I don't think anybody bought it. But the Raccoon is just kind of a dumb idea, but it's okay. Like, it's fast. It's big. But Fortune Reaper is just trash. Fortune Reaper's trash. So, now it is time to begin the second section of the list. We have our first round winners going against each other as we clock in on the list. So let's get into it. So yeah, we've gotten through the longest part, so the rest of this should actually be pretty much a breeze. Let's get into it. The 2020 Michael Myers versus the Haunted Vacuum Cleaner. That's another no-brainer. That's easily Michael. Michael is, like I said, probably in all of my lists since he came out, he's been the worst animatronic of all time, but I don't know how long that'll last for. But he's pretty awful. The Zombie Toilet versus the Zombie Twins. I'm gonna go with the Zombie Twins. That's another pretty easy one just because Zombie Toilet at least has some ideas to him. Like, you could use him in a scene and he'd look okay, like in like an outhouse in like an abandoned town. I don't know, but still, they're both awful. Rat Girl versus Ellie Hatchet. Rat Girl. Like I said, Ellie's like a D tier prop. Rat Girl is an easy F. Johnny Punk versus Lunging Clown is actually very, very difficult. You know what's crazy? I'm gonna go Lunging Clown. I'm gonna go Lunging Clown. Now I say that because while Johnny Punk is awful, at least there's like a bit of a character to it. With the Lunging Clown, it's just downright ugly. And the audio is actually somehow even worse than Johnny's. So that is, Lunging Clown is like the only Costco prop that comes to mind that I could actually say is like awful. Wheelchair Granny versus the Roaming Zombie Girl. I'm gonna give it to the Roaming Zombie Girl, but that's a really close one too, definitely. Headless Jack versus Graveyard Ghoul. That's easily Headless Jack. Graveyard Ghoul is, like I said, decent. Headless Jack is awful. Roaming Creepy Bear versus Sinister Steve. I'm gonna give it to Steve because Creepy Bear's bad, don't get me wrong, but I would say he's not as bad as a lot of people make him out to be. He's just very meh. There's not a lot to him. Like, he's literally just a roaming creepy bear. Like, he's goofy. And so is Steve, but like, Steve, I don't know, dude. Steve's just bad. Sutures versus the Valak Nun. I'm going with the Valak Nun. Because, I don't know. They're both terrible, but I think Sutures is outdoor rated, so I definitely take it. See, we're already on the next side. That was easy. The Evil Clown versus Funzo, that's tough. Oh, that's hard. I'm gonna say Funzo's worse. Only because the Evil Clown is just really painfully, it's literally just a generic pack clown. There's nothing else to it. At least with that, like, Funzo is just bad all around. Bad audio, bad animation, bad looks. The Eva Clown, the looks are okay, but everything, it's just boring. Pesky versus 12-foot scientist, no brainer. That is the 12-foot tall scientist. Jemmy Beetlejuice versus Collector's Minion. I'm gonna give it to Beetlejuice only because we haven't actually seen, at the time of recording, Collector's Minion in action. But he'll probably still be better than Jemmy Beetlejuice. The 12-foot Reaper from Sam's Club versus the Morbid Jason. I'm gonna say the Morbid Jason for sure. The Sam's Club 12-foot Reaper, I would still, I said that weird. I would say is still, besides the Scientist, the worst 12-footer. The worst seasonal visions 12-footer. The Reaper is easily the worst seasonal visions 12-footer, and I'd say it's like second or third worst 12-footer overall. There's too many 12-footers, man. They gotta stop with that. Sitter of Souls versus the Cotton Candy Cocoon. I'm giving it to the Candy Cocoon. I don't think either or would make it that far, honestly. And then the Pumpkin Scarecrow versus the Cellar Dweller. That is definitely going to the Pumpkin Scarecrow. Like I said, that thing's abysmal. Whimsical Witch versus the Pneumatic Girl. Oh, that's tough. Oh, that is hard. That is actually very difficult. I'm gonna go Pneumatic Girl. Do I want to go Pneumatic Girl? I'm gonna go Whimsical Witch. I'm gonna say Whimsical Witch. And then Jumpscare Pumpkin versus the Fortune Reaper. Gosh, see, these are tough. I'm gonna say the Fortune Reaper because the paint job was awful, mouth programming was abysmal, but that Jumpscare Pumpkin Reaper is very, very bad. Don't get me wrong. Alright, see, back on the next side. We're definitely closing in now. 2020 Michael versus the Zombie Twins. That's... wow. That is difficult. Ah. I would phone a friend, but I don't know. Nah, we don't need to phone a friend this episode. I'm gonna say Michael. That's really difficult, though. Rat Girl versus Lunging Clown isn't as difficult. Gonna give that to Rat Girl. But Lunging Clown is still awful. Roaming Zombie Girl versus Headless Jack. That is definitely the Zombie Girl. If it'll let me do it. Okay. Sinister Steve versus the Nun. That is easily the Nun. Funzo versus 12-Foot Scientist. Wow. Wow. I'm gonna say the Scientist. Scientist is definitely a contender for worst animatronic of all time. He is. Horrible, horrible. Jemmy Beetlejuice versus Morbid Jason. I'm gonna say Beetlejuice because with the Jason, while it's bad, there's not enough to it to make it awful. Like, the design itself is just okay. It's just lacking in a lot of like no animation, barely any animation. Audio is just like it's nothing crazy, but it's tolerable, I guess. With the Jemmy Beetlejuice, it's just ugly, so ugly, and that's its biggest downside. All right, Cotton Candy Cocoon versus the Scarecrow. That is the Scarecrow faux shizzle. And then Whimsical Witch versus Fortune Reaper. That is definitely Fortune Reaper. Semi-finals. Let's get locked in. The 2020 Michael Myers, or no, we're quarterfinals. Sorry, quarterfinals. 2020 Michael Myers versus Rat Girl. I'm gonna give it to Michael, but I'm very disappointed to see Rat Girl get out so early in the video. Roaming Zombie versus the Nun. Now, I should say the Zombie Girl, but I do really hate that Nun. Like, I really hate that Nun. Let's see. It's a very, very difficult choice here. I'm gonna say the Zombie Girl. Because the Zombie Girl's funny. Like, it's funny that it even exists, but like the Nun is just bad. There's nothing like funny about it. It's just bad. But I'm gonna say the Zombie Girl because objectively that is easily worse. But I don't know, man. All right, 12-Foot Scientist versus Jemmy Beetlejuice. See, these are getting tough now. Like, they're so bad, I don't know which one's worse. But I'm gonna say the Scientist again. I despise that Scientist, and everybody else I know does. Like, as far as I'm aware, there isn't a single haunter that owns it, and I really, really hope it stays that way. Like, I really hope it stays that way. And then the Pumpkin Scarecrow versus the Fortune Reaper. That is definitely the Pumpkin Scarecrow. It's crazy that that is actually the only thing from Halloween costumes to make it this far into the video. I'm actually very impressed with that. Alright, now we're in the semifinals. 2020 Michael versus the Roaming Zombie Girl. Objectively, the Zombie Girl is still worse, but that Michael's bad. I'm gonna go Michael. I'm gonna say Michael. Okay, and then I'm gonna be real with you. 12-Foot Scientist versus the Pumpkin Scarecrow. I'm gonna go with the Pumpkin Scarecrow. Cause let me explain my reasoning. So the Pumpkin Scarecrow could have been good if it wasn't Halloween costumes. Like, YJ's done it before. YJ's done it with Night Stalker, and Night Stalker's kind of mid, but like he's tolerable. And you don't really have that with him, because Pumpkin Scarecrow, his face is ugly, his animation's whatever, I guess, but then he talks, and that's another big downside to him, is his audio is horrible. But yeah, I'm gonna say Pumpkin Scarecrow. So now, the finals. Who is the worst animatronic of all time? The 2020 Michael Myers or the Halloween costumes Pumpkin Scarecrow? If you know me, you should know my answer. It's definitely Michael Myers. It's Michael Myers. No debate. There's no thoughts in my mind that would say otherwise, that Michael isn't the worst. So with that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy today's Madness Bracket video. It took me a while to make this, actually. It took about 2 to 3 days, but I'm glad I could finally push it out for you guys. I'm trying to get back on the content grind now that the year is starting to slow down. I do have more unboxings coming your way, such as Carnival Barker, Drop Down Scarecrow, and whenever my other last things on my wish list come, I'll get those too. But I'm Spooky Guy 444. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Comment down below, actually, who your worst animatronic pick of all time is. And I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.